Hey everybody, it's Soul Spa time, and it's a time for another full moon celebration with Bev Wood. Hi, Bev.
Hello. Hi, Paul. My goodness, didn't we just do this?
Yeah, I know. They just pop up. I'm like, oh my God,
Wow.
it's a full moon
Yeah.
again. So we're going to listen to Bev and tell us about what this full moon represents. And if you have any questions, you can always contact her through this Facebook.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So actually tomorrow, Monday, October 6th, is the Libra Full Moon Festival. And if you want to know the exact time, it will be 11:48 p.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time. So wherever you are, you can subtract and add or whatever. So just to kind of recap for those of you who may be listening for the first time, the moon is mass consciousness. It's the mass consciousness of humanity. And it happens to be in Aries. And the sun, which is divine consciousness, is in Libra. So, just to remind you, the moon is a satellite of the earth and it has no light or life of its own. In fact, it's becoming more and more etheric. We won't ever see it, but it is bound and determined to become not to raise its energies to another level as all life does through evolution. So in that, because of that, any light we see from the of the moon is a reflection of its relationship to the sun. You know, the new moon, the quarter moon, all those kinds of things. That's the relationship between the sun and the moon. So we always want to focus on what? The divine consciousness. We want to, because the sun itself is in Libra. So that's why we say this is the Libra full moon. And incidentally, the sun happens to be exalted. That means it does its best, the energy's best in Aries. So, what a potent full moon, because not only that whole polarity is interacting on the divine level. So, this is really a potent opportunity for humanity. So, in my last presentation, it was the Libra autumn equinox, and I mentioned that Libra and Aries, two arms of what we call the cardinal cross. It's a cross of initiating energies, activities. And if you look at the four seasons, these four signs are the initiating cycles of the seasons. So also initiating any inner activity for all of us as well. So this time of the year, we say that we are going into the lower interlude of the year, which is be initiated by Libra. The lower interlude is if you think about the harvesting of the seeds at the autumn, what happens? Life itself begins to withdraw and literally goes into the densest, darkest part, which was going to be in Capricorn, one of the other arms. And it prepares for and rests. It's just a time of resting and preparation, inward work for us. And then a time of expectation. And what is that expectation? The renewal of life in Aries. So again, here's that polarity. We have to look at both sides. So we're following the unfolding of light in the zodiac. I've been presenting that. And Libra is called the light that moves to rest. It's the seventh sign in the zodiac and the sign of the midway point. So esoterically, we call this a pause. We're pausing. Actually, it's the soul that pauses in its evolutionary process and to make a decision. Eventually, in the evolutionary process, it makes a decision when the personality life is actually able to start responding to its impulse, starting to understand and to listen and to make different choices. So this is Libra is about pausing and making a different choice. And what we call in astrology, we call it reversing the wheel. That means that the path that the soul has been taking up until then has been the path of least resistance. Now, consciously, we began to go against the grain, so to speak. That's when everything starts coming up for us. And you can call it karma, you can call it experience, whatever it is. So it happens in every single one of the personality lives. This is about conscious evolution. Libra is an air sign, so we're working with the mind at that level. So when the soul reverses the wheel, then the stage is set because now there's a battle that begins in the next sign of Scorpio, but we won't talk about that till next month. So a battle begins, and let me tell you, it's a battle of the will because this is a battle between the soul and its personality for control. And the little personality that's had thought for eons of time that it was in charge discovers it, when it finally accepts and acknowledges that relationship of duality, the soul and itself, its personality, and it begins the battle for control. The soul will always win, but in the meantime, that is a long battle that goes. So the battle begins, it's of the will, as I said, but it's here that we begin to have, we lose desire for many things that are peripheral that we thought was so important. And that's where the battle comes in. The things that used to be exciting or fulfill us, we thought they're changing. Things are lifting, the energies are moving, and we want other things. And that's when the soul reverses the wheel and we begin to go against that grain. And it's work. It is definitely the work. But as a teacher of mine told me, find joy in the tribulation. It means we're moving forward. So this is where we begin at that point, that pause point. We begin to build this urge to serve. This is an aspect of the soul. This is the whole purpose of the soul, to be here to serve the plan through a personality vehicle. That's us. So here we are. So Libra is really where we come into a social awareness. So let's look at Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the child, the I am. Well, it's the first identity with a relationship. And that relationship is me, I. By the time the child begins to grow and go through experiences, by the time it gets to its opposite end of Libra, we are now ready to enter into personal relationships with others. It becomes a we. So here's that dichotomy of I and we, the growing of consciousness towards the soul interaction, because Libra is harmony, balance, and justice. In fact, its symbol is what? The scales of justice, where everything is equal, equality. Think about the times right now. This is why this is such a potent time and an amazing full moon. As I said, Libra is an air sign. It is about balancing the mental energies. Ultimately, what that is called is peace of mind. When you are at an equality, a point of equilibrium, you have peace. And this is the whole journey into Libra. So it is right thinking, right acting, and what we call right human relationships. This is a keynote of the Aquarian age. Right human relationships where everyone is equal. We step forward as a group and begin to serve. So Libra is the balance point between the two ages, the Piscean that's going out, the Aquarian age that's coming in. And it has a resonance with both of the signs that rule those two ages. The ruling sign that's coming in with Aquarius is called Uranus. So it's so interesting that um, Uranus rules on the personality level the Aquarian age, and on a soul level, it rules Libra. So in esoteric astrology, there are three rulerships: the personality, the soul, and what we call the monadic or hierarchical, the spirit. Here we are with that trinity again that we're talking about under the ageless wisdom. So the balance point between the two ages, the great point of tension and crisis right now. So how fitting that the keynote, the soul, sounds the keynote of Libra. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. So in your meditations during this time, focus on that, contemplate that. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force, the midway point between the duality of the physical world. So, as I said, in esoteric astrology, we have Venus, which rules Libra on the personality level. What is Venus? It's a energy of beauty, of harmony, of peace, of higher. It rules the mental plane, actually, Venus, the Lord of Venus. In this case, let's look to the soul rulership of Libra, which is Uranus, the planet of a new direction. It takes us out of the old path and it breaks us onto a brand new direction. That is exactly where we're heading. Okay, it's the way of liberation. It's mental, highly mental, and that is the liberating energy. Takes us out of those old paths, those old ways of doing business from the emotional and begins helping us to reason our way through experiences here. So the new age, as I said, Uranus rules Aquarius, the new age, and is a sole ruler of Libra, the way of liberation. So just to kind of sum this up, we are, and every one of us knows that we're in a time of crisis. And as a group, gosh, we have made harmful choices and decisions, which we are now having to look at, and we're out of balance. And the main reason is because our emphasis has been on the personality and not enough on the soul. When that begins to happen, when more of us begin to align ourselves with the purpose of the soul, our world will change. This is a major opportunity right now during this full moon to really enter into contemplating that and trying to bring that thought form into your daily living. So it's interesting because we're told that the great experiment for us is called relationship. The arena of the experiment for us to learn how to love is called relationship. And if you look at our relationships, wow, they are, like I said, out of balance. We really don't know what we're doing. And so now we're having to take a look at all of our relationships, not just to each other, but we have to take a look at the relationship that the fourth kingdom of humanity has with the planetary life. We are here. This is why we're here, to serve the planetary entity that we live and move within. The only way we can do that is at a point of equilibrium where we're not pulled in either direction, where chaos is not ensuing, where we stand in that point of peace. And then other things, love, our hearts and minds begin to align. And this is when we begin to love and serve each other, all of life here, and really step up to serve our purpose. We have not even figured it out. I will probably be talking about that down the line in the Angel's Wisdom presentations and share with you what the purpose is of the fourth kingdom in nature and why we're so incredibly important to the plan of this planet that is now burning up. It's on fire. Fire and flood, the two elements of cleansing. We're in a cleansing time. So, in the meantime, I really wish all of you a very blessed full moon. Take the time, take a minute to just move to rest, contemplate, be in a place of equilibrium and a place of peace within yourselves so that you can go out and serve the greater whole. That is why we're here. So thank you, everyone.
And thank you. So, one question. We always like to have a little question. You
Yes.
said the word serve over and over and over and over.
Yes.
So, in a short little titty bit here, ditty bit, tidbit, tit.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
um, what serve? What do we mean by serve? Do I have to go out and join the food bank or
Right.
join an
Right.
organization? How can I best serve?
So service in the higher essence is a quality of the soul. It's not, as you say, just go out and serve a Thanksgiving dinner in a line and help people on the street. That's a lovely thing to do, by the way, because it we're so connected and to help each other. But true service happens from the heart, from the mind, finding that midway point between the head and the heart. That's our goal. Okay, so that we become more aligned with the soul. It's the prompting from our higher selves to serve. And we don't have to announce it. When you are in a place of more love and more under the rule of the soul more, it will just happen naturally. We don't have to create. Um, there's an amazing entity on the planet. Her name is Amachi. She is considered to be the embodiment of the divine feminine, and her whole um, message is called Seva, selfless service. That means you stand in the world offering that soul effort. It's not, you know, going down and just spending a couple of hours doing something. Like I said, that's a wonderful thing to do. But this service I'm talking about is a higher resonance for humanity that many of us now are doing on this planet, but we don't announce it. I mean, Paul, just you and I getting on here once a month and doing this. This is the service that we're trying to offer to people who are looking for some lifting. Service is it is maybe a way of liberating because when we enter into that, it's always a lifting activity, moving upward. And when we begin to do that as a group, which is our purpose here. We do it as a soul group on behalf of the one in whom we live and move, the planetary logos. That is why the soul, that's its main purpose, to serve the plan through this personality life. That's why it's so important that we begin to cleanse this house, and come more into an alignment of peace and brotherhood, this new age. That's really the keynote. So service is another keynote of the new age. World service. That happens from the heart in each of us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Bev, thank you. I look forward to using this full moon to choose again and to participate with all of you out there to choose again.
That's
Thank you.
right.
And we'll
Yep.
see you all next month.
Thank you,
Bye, all.
everyone.